How's it going, guys? Like, that intro, let me just take a second. That intro, like, if I'm having a bad day, I just fire up that intro and just get right in the zone, ready to talk some sports. How's it going, Jack?
It's fantastic. We've had a banger week in the NFL. We got a lot going on in the sports world. I think both of us right now actually are keeping an eye on Game 3 of the NLCS. So
Yes,
it's fun.
very
Fun times.
very
Fun
very
times.
a side eye. I got my phone right here, just like keeping an eye on it. So, with that said, thank you guys for tuning in. Episode 41. We got that Dirk Nowitzki show today, Alvin Kamara show today. So, hope everyone is having a wonderful day. How's it going, Jack? The other Jack. Shout out to Big Jack. Actually, Jack, we need to get you on a show. I know you're interested in a baseball show, right? That'd be fun. Yeah, let's get a baseball show in the network. So thanks for hopping on. So big show today, tons of things to talk about. But first of all, let's get some groundwork out of the way. Make sure you like the stream, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at UStadium. You can follow me on my socials. You can follow Jack on his socials. And we are back accepting super chats, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. Let me look on the Instagram.
Pretty positive that stuff is back up and running. So
I know an ad played the last time I watched a U Stadium video. So I believe we are monetized again. So super chats, super stickers. We'd love for you to support the channel. We might do some giveaways, or I even floated out the idea before we got demonetized for a little bit. I floated out the idea that if we got like $100 on a stream, I would shave live. That's an option. I would rather shave after the Braves win the World Series or the Ravens win the Super Bowl. But hey, it's an option. I'm being honest with you guys. So Jack, basketball, football, baseball, if you ever need a guest, I'd be honored. Yeah, we'd love to have you on. You said you're a West Coast guy too. So we're always on it.
Two of us.
Yeah, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. If any of you ever want to hop on the show, we'd be more than happy to have you. We've had a historic list of guests. We had Ari and Dan a couple times. Stefan was a guest, turned permanent host, turned.
Hopefully he shows up today. We're not 100% sure on that, but fingers crossed.
I think Henry's been on the show a couple times for some hockey, so it's always a fun time. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have a 3-way box here. Had to make sure I threw in the word box there.
That's important.
Yeah. Okay. With that said, speaking of 3 ways, the NFL MVP race. How are we feeling, Jack?
I thought you were about to question me on hot takes. I thought we were going to start there, but
yeah. Okay. My brain is fried right now. That's okay. So, yes, we're going to start with hot takes. I jumped the gun a little bit. I thought the transition was too good to pass up.
It's okay. So, sometimes you just can't pass up a good transition. It's fine.
No, absolutely. So let's fire up that hot take.
Maybe somebody brought up MVP and hot takes. We'll find out in a moment.
Yeah, maybe. All right, boom. Oh, I didn't zoom in on the picture. Did I? Why is it not zoomed in?
You guys can.
Okay, there we go. Okay, producer Splash is going to get fired today, folks. Okay, we have some banger hot takes today, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, hotness. This is from friend of the show, FTV, water enthusiast, FTV, 1939. Water is 3/4 wet.
We're still on this water debate, aren't we?
Yes.
I really don't know what to say to it at this point.
I think, yeah. It can sometimes be more wet, and I do want to throw up this comment. Still thinking of the $8 pack of cheese. Right before the show, I went to the market, Highland Market in Tucson, and I bought this piece of bread with a skull on it, emblematic of the Braves today. I bought Kung Pao chicken for lunch because I didn't have breakfast this morning. And then I bought jackfruit. Jack. Teriyaki flavored, by the way. And I bought shredded cheese. The shredded cheese was the most expensive object in that. And I got 6 ounces of shredded cheese, like a 3-cheese Mexican spread for $8. When I tell you I was not pleased to see $7.99 pop up on the register,
I would have lost my mind. I would have been like, that
I was
much
about
for
to throw
cheese?
hands with the cashier. Like, how can you charge
That's
$8
where you like
for
follow those
cheese?
commercials where they say like if somebody else's advertised price is higher or is lower than this, we'll match it. That's like what you
Yeah,
want to
like
do.
the all the car insurance commercials.
Yeah,
So,
see that all the
$8
time on
cheese,
TV. Hey,
man.
sometimes it can come in handy.
Oh, that was weird. All right, let's get into a real hot take. You're gonna like this one, Jack. This is from Holden, friend of the show. We might do a collab with Holden and get him on a show at some point. Maybe an audio, like a podcast. Holden says Cooper Kupp is a top 5 wide receiver in the league.
He's been saying this like crazy
Mm-hmm.
over the last
Can
like
confirm.
few weeks. All over the place. Honestly, I've been seeing it on Twitter too. I think he's up there. I really do think he's up there. The way he's been playing as of late, like I feel like he reinforced it this week too. Like I wanted to see how he performed this week, and he killed it this week. I thought he looked fantastic.
Yeah, I think in a way he kind of bailed out Stafford a little bit. I'm we're going to touch on the Rams game a little bit later, but I kind of don't feel great about Stafford right now. But that's a story for another time. We're talking about Cooper Kupp. Is Cooper Kupp a top 5 wide receiver this season? Yes, unequivocally yes. To me, he is the second best, right behind Devontae Adams. He is in my All-Pro team. He is made my team of the week this week. That's coming out tomorrow. He's been unbelievable, but I do have pushback when people say he's top 5 just because of the stats.
Yeah, that's where
that's my pushback.
I'm not going to call him top 5 because of the stats either. Like, I think the stats are great. Don't get me wrong, but I think the way he's been playing as of late, his on-field product, I think, shows a lot more than the stats do. And he's been super reliable in a lot of like key third down situations, a lot of like, some of those touchdowns that he had, especially this past week. Like there was a touchdown he had where he just had this burst of speed right into the end zone. I didn't think he was even going to score on that play. And it's just what he's capable of doing is ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think the thing with stats in general is they can be kind of goofy in how they're produced, right? So Deebo Samuel, for instance, is 3rd in the NFL in yards per game, like right behind Kupp. Kupp's at 109, Deebo's at 108, something like that. But those yards have come in dramatically different ways because what Kupp does is kind of in the flow of the offense. But then you look at Deebo, and Deebo has 2 plays. He's gone for like 160 yards. Now, I'm not discounting that, but I'm saying that it's kind of a measure of success is how often that happens. Like how many times a game is Cooper Kupp open for like 15 or 20 yards? Like 10, right? He like is super reliable and super consistent, and it's a bunch of chunk plays. It's not just one busted coverage that goes for 76 yards like Deebo had against Seattle. And I'm not trying to hate on Deebo. Absolutely not. He's a Pro Bowl caliber guy. He would be my Pro Bowl roster right now, but it's just a difference in how the yards are accumulated. And if you just have a blanket statement of, oh, look at the stats, Kupp is obviously top 5. Well, I disagree with you. I think there is variety in how these stats come about, right? So take my favorite example is Patrick Mahomes throwing touchdown passes. Well, Travis Kelce catching a 6-yard pass and turning it into a 40-yard touchdown, that's more on Kelce than it is Mahomes, right?
Exactly.
And Lance hitting Deebo for a 76-yard touchdown, that's not an indictment on Lance. That's not an indictment on Deebo. That's an indictment on the Seattle defense falling apart for a second. Like every quarterback in the NFL, besides maybe Jacob Eason, rest in peace, outside of Eason, can hit that throw, right? And I think a lot of wide receivers can turn that into a huge play. Now, is every receiver going to score? Maybe not. But I do think there needs to be some nuance. So I think, yeah, Cooper Kupp is, I would say he's a top 5 wide receiver this season. Next season, maybe not. I also don't want it to come off as a knock if I say a guy is not top 5, because this is a ridiculously talented group of wide receivers in the NFL right now.
There are so many of them are just crazy talented. So, and like, just because somebody's not top 5 doesn't mean they're not talented at all. Like,
yeah, you look at even like Tampa, right, with Godwin and Evans and Brown. In any other era, all of those guys are top 5, right? In any, like 10 years ago, they're all top 5. But this era, none of them might be in the top 10, right? The way this season's going, Antonio Brown looks like the best of them, but Evans and Godwin are spectacular receivers. They are, Pro Bowl caliber, borderline all pro caliber receivers, and they might be the 15th best receiver in the NFL. Allen Robinson, same thing. Keenan Allen, same thing. Where do you rank Mike Williams? He's had an awesome season. Where do you rank Marquise Brown? He's like 10th in receiving yards. So I think stats, particularly this early in the season, it's week 6. Remember, heading into week 7, that stats are great. Yes, I agree with you. But at this point, right, Debo capitalizing on a busted coverage by San Francisco or by Seattle is like 15% of his total yardage, right? So that one play is garnering a lot. This is, say, Nick Chubb when he broke off an 88-yard run against the Ravens. I'm not saying Nick Chubb was a bad player. No, he's an awesome player. But if you look at his production as of week 4, it's a little skewed. Or Derrick Henry, he had a 70-yard touchdown yesterday. If you take that out, he was 19 carries for like 70 yards. It's still fine, and he scored 3 touchdowns, but you kind of ask yourself, like, take a breather for a moment. So Austin, how's it going? Got some Cooper Kupp chat there. Hoops himself, Adam Thielen finally clutched up. Yes, he did. He
did that for my fantasy team. I actually don't know if I won this week, but
nice. Yeah, he had was third. You
guys are gonna get an update right now. I'm gonna
great.
Give you a live reaction if I can find it.
Yeah, so this week, Lamb, I believe, beat out Kupp for the most yards. Then it was then Kupp, then Thielen, then Donovan Peoples-Jones had like 101 yards and was 4th among receivers in yards. So big shout out to Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Destroyed this person in fantasy.
Nice. Well, unless it's...
Was it Henry? Oh, boy. I'm so sorry, Henry. I murdered him in fantasy this week.
Oof. Okay. With that said, speaking of murders, Javier, friend of the show, Javi, says Braves blow the series. Do we need a reminder that this is called hot takes? People do realize that the Dodgers are heavily favored, right? Like, it's not a hot take to say the Dodgers win the next 3 at all.
Atlanta just scored, by the way.
Okay, chop on, baby.
So now it's 2-1.
Jock Peterson, let's go. Okay,
it brings a tear to my eye to see us getting Jocktobered.
Yeah. Hey, Freddie Freeman had 2 of the worst games I've ever seen Freddie Freeman have. I've been watching the Braves. Well, I was born in Atlanta, so I've been watching the Braves for 15 years. But I've watched every step of the Freddie Freeman career, and I promise you that his back-to-back games, Game 1 and Game 2 in the NLCS, that is the worst I've ever seen him play. They were uncompetitive at bats. He was striking out a ton. So I am so glad to see Freddie get on base and do something and then he had a bad defensive play in Game 2. It's just... you hate to see an awesome player like that struggle on a big stage. So I'm glad Freddie's having a good game. But I will say, I don't think it's a hot take to say the Braves blow the series. Like I try to be an optimistic.
Blowing the series either. Like,
yeah,
this is
you have
gonna be
3 games
close.
at home. The Dodgers lost games 1 and 2 on walk-offs. Like, these are total, like, completely evenly matched games, and it happened that the Braves had the last at bat in both of them.
Hey, so it's a tie game now.
Oh, yes, sir.
So the Dodgers only like to play close games apparently in the postseason. We're gonna get to, speaking of, Smash is a Chiefs fan now.
Come on now.
I
Get it
tease.
right. Seminoles fan.
I tease. A million teams use that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you think it should be like eliminated? Because I know people that it's kind of like the Washington R words or the Cleveland redacted sort of thing, that it's kind of like,
Washington
they shouldn't do that.
It. Huh? It's just a chant. It's like when the San Jose Sharks do like the shark chomp thing kind of.
Oh yeah, like the Florida.
Yeah, I never was like offended by it or anything.
I don't know. I think I get into the game, and I like, if I'm in my room watching the game, I'm definitely doing the chop. Like I think there's, to me, I question how the chop is offensive, because I think if you're using an axe, right, and you take away the tomahawk imagery, if you're using an axe and you're chopping wood, what does it look like? Same. Seriously, like if the the team up in Northern Arizona that just beat Arizona, like the U of A Wildcats, they're called the Lumberjacks. If they did the chop, but it was cutting wood, would that be any different from what the Braves and Chiefs do and what the Knowles do?
Something to think about, I think.
Like if we were called the Atlanta Lumberjacks, I get sensitivity in sports. I do. I understand that one day the Braves might change their name, and I'll be an Atlanta baseball fan. I understand
Atlanta baseball team.
Yes, I understand Cleveland had to change their name to the Guardians. I understand Washington had to change their name to the Washington football team. But to me, this is me talking. This is me talking to you probably in the future because I'm going to clip this. Our words and the redacted or the Cleveland redacteds, I think those are offensive terms. Can be used offensively, right? Sorry about that. Not always, or well, it can be used offensively. I guess every term can be used offensively. But at a certain point, you have to ask yourself, if Braves or Chiefs or Seminoles or Sioux, anything like that, if that's offensive, why isn't Warriors offensive? Like the Golden State Warriors. No one's ever going to have an issue with that because it's a generic term. Well, why is Fighting Irish okay, right? Or Fighting Illini, why is that okay? And I just you have to ask yourself, like, I don't know. I don't understand because a Brave is like a honorific figure, right? If you called a team the Senators, oh, wait, there's been several. Like people in Ottawa, well, I guess senator in that sense isn't reflective on like politics now, but like the Washington Senators, they didn't have to change their name because, oh, the Senators were mad. No, they just moved to Texas, right? And then moved to Minnesota. There's two different Washington Senator teams. So look, if Atlanta has to become Atlanta baseball team, I will continue to do the chop. I might not refer to it as a tomahawk, but I don't know. Just to me, I think I understand the narrative with Washington. I understand the narrative with Cleveland, but the Kansas City Chiefs, I think that's fine. It would be like, to me, it's calling like a team like the Generals or the Warriors, something like that. Braves is very much in the same light. So I hope the Braves are the Braves for a long time. I love how we went on a way off tangent.
That was such a tangent there. Where are we in terms of the hot takes?
Okay, we are on.
They got a bench Walker Bueller. Oh God, this is a disaster.
Duval. Yeah, when we actually acquired Duval back in July, my mom came into the room. I think my mom will remember this if she's watching. And I said, Duval, and held it for 15 seconds. So that was pretty cool. But anyway, speaking of
I would have
Duval,
liked to have heard that. You don't have to do it right now, but I would have.
Oh, yeah. One of our clips, one of our shorts is going to be me saying Duval for 15 seconds. Anyways, speaking of Duval, we have Mike _1625, friend of the show. He's been on the show before. Jags have a bye this week, but they go back to back and beat the Seahawks in week 8. How are we feeling about that one?
Honestly, there is a chance. There is a chance the Seahawks did not look too sharp with Geno Smith. I don't think they played badly, but there's
I really
just
liked what they did with Alex Collins. Like,
yeah, Alex Collins had a much better game.
Like it's kind of it was like Pete Carroll kind of puffing his chest out and Shane Waldron kind of puffing his chest out and saying, okay, we're the Seattle Seahawks. You know, Marshawn Lynch, Sean Alexander, they used to play for us. You know, we can run the football. And I really like to see that. I know they lost. I know they had the heartbreaker strip sack in overtime by TJ Watt. TJ Watt is unbelievable.
TJ Watt's ridiculous.
Just, oh man, he's so good. But I get that they lost, but there were a lot of moral victories in that. And it's tough because Seattle is in as bad of a situation as you can be in. You're down your starting quarterback and you don't have your pick. So it's not even
How weird is it, by the way, to see this guy, like, just to tune into a Seahawks game on Sunday Night Football, and Russell Wilson is wearing like a tracksuit or something and standing there on the bench.
I was heartbroken. Like Russell Wilson isn't like on my list of favorite athletes, but I think he's kind of the stand-in. Like if you ask someone on the street, who's your favorite quarterback? I think Russell Wilson's a viable answer. I think enough people don't like Tom Brady because of like the Patriots things. And I think enough people don't like Mahomes because family, or Rodgers because family, ironically enough. But I think Russell Wilson is a very likable player. And it just sucks that one of the best players in the NFL is missing time. And it sucks for any player.
It sucks for football, honestly.
Yeah.
Just
like
in general.
He's one of the top. To me, he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now. If I had to pick a guy, everyone's healthy. If I had to pick a guy for Sunday, I am picking Russell Wilson. I'm taking over Mahomes. I'm taking over Rodgers. I'm taking over Watson. I'm taking over Lamar, over Kyler, over Stafford, over Goff, over Baker. Well, Goff's not much of a conversation.
Over Goff, yes.
Woo! Yeah.
Boy.
I said Stafford, and then my mind immediately went to Goff. So Jared Goff is nowhere near Russell Wilson. Let me just put it that way. But I think you have to.
Interesting how he's beaten him a couple times too, but that was more the whole offense.
That was more. Jared Goff is an offer without Sean McVay. Just want to throw that out there. So,
and they play the Rams this week.
Yeah, congratulations. We have the Jared Goff revenge game. We have the Matthew Stafford revenge game. We have the corpse of Quandre Diggs revenge game.
Someone actually brought this up on the app yesterday. I want to see if I can find it. If I can find it, I will.
While you look for that, I will say the Jags do have a shot against Seattle. I think you're going to be able to run the football. You're going to be able to throw the football. I really have liked a lot of what I've seen from Trevor the last 2 or 3 weeks. I think he's been very polished, and the difference to me between him and Zach Wilson.
Zach Lawrence.
Yeah. Is that Lawrence brings such a floor to the team. Like Zach might make more impressive throws. I get that. But Lawrence, when he needs to make a throw, he will make the spectacular look unspectacular, right? It's kind of it's almost like Brady, because you look at Brady and you're like, well, he's not moving, but it's such subtle pocket movements, and it's such subtle, like the ability to place the ball over the linebacker but underneath the safety. He makes a awesome throw like once a week, but you don't notice it's awesome in like a highlight reel. It's like, oh, great catch by Chenault or Chark or Jones or whomever, but it's like, that's a perfectly thrown ball. That is like layering. This is something that even like Kyler and Lamar, that's one of my criticisms with them, is that they're not putting the ball. Trevor Lawrence is incredibly good at football. Like, say what you will about the turnovers, say what you will about the some of the dumb things he does. I get that, but he has such a knack for that perfect throw, and it doesn't feel like anything out of the ordinary. So I really like what Lawrence has brought to the table the last few weeks, and I agree with Mike. I think that the Jags can beat Seattle. I don't know if I would pick them to beat Seattle. I don't know if the game's in Seattle or in Jacksonville, but I definitely think there's a solid chance there.
All right.
The Dodgers are falling apart.
Yeah, that's
walking home a run. Dansby with a single. Nice.
I'm like complaining in group chats right now about how we need to get Bueller out of there because he's not looking like himself right now.
Hey, look, you guys touched up freaking Christy Mathewson last time out, so let us touch up Bueller a little bit.
I don't want to go down 3-0 in the series, although we did come back from 3-1.
Nope. Okay, this is the Sports Desk. Okay, I had to do that.
I didn't even notice that you did that.
Okay,
I was like about to say something, and then I'm like, oh, he cut me out. So,
okay, let's finish through these hot takes, and I'll Hoops himself. I see your comments. I will answer them. We're gonna cycle through hot takes real quick. Okay, you're gonna hate this one, Jack. Nelson Rodriguez, friend of the show, says Arizona has a legitimate chance to go 17-0.
What's the rest of their schedule?
They play. You guys again, Seattle twice, San Francisco, they play Green Bay.
They could probably lose to Green Bay next week.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a short week too. I think it's at Lambeau.
No, not next week. This week, week 7, they play the Texans. That's an easy win. Then they play Green Bay. They're probably going to lose to Green Bay.
I don't know. That's a fun one. That's a fun one. Actually, if Arizona loses to Houston.
Oh,
okay. First of all, do you think Houston's the worst team in the NFL? Because
a long shot.
Okay, because I think Detroit's worse.
Well, Detroit's bad too, actually.
Okay, so imagine if the 32nd team in a legitimate 32nd team in a power rankings beats the number 1 team in a lot of people's power rankings. That would be, the NFL would just be stupid at that point. So, although I hope that would open up it wouldn't open up the wheel of death because the Lions haven't lost yet.
Oh, we finally got Bueller out of the game. Thank God.
Okay. Love to hear it. Anyways, into the Dodger bullpen we go. I do think Arizona has a chance at 17-0, but it's going to be tough. And especially when you get late in the season, if you're say 14-0, 15-0, and you've beaten the Rams twice and beat the Seahawks twice, or whatever.
They're not going to they're not going to beat the Rams as easily as they did last time. I think the Rams were caught way off guard by that one.
Although it is in Glendale, right?
It is, but the Rams never seem to care that much about away games. That one could be a lot closer. The 49ers game, you never know. The Seahawks game, Russell Wilson should be back by that point.
Ooh.
The second one at least.
Fun.
It's going to be tough. I think maybe there's a chance, but these NFC West coaches can pull anything out of their asses at any point. And then you play the Packers, they play the Cowboys. The Cowboys can actually be a close one too.
Ooh, that's going to be one of the best games of the year, I think.
Yeah,
Arizona, Kyler.
Dallas is such a pleasant surprise this year.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about Dallas probably in the MVP conversation, but Dallas is for real. I know they only beat New England in overtime, but that's the kind of game that I came out like I thought both teams were better than I thought they were coming in, because I thought Mac Jones was just fantastic. To me, Jones played a flawless game. It's just you're playing a better team, right? So Dak played very well. He had a really bad interception, but
it was the NFL. It can humble you so fast. Like Trayvon Diggs gets that ridiculous pick six, and Twitter's just blowing up like Diggs is MVP, or not MVP, but Defensive Player of the Year. And then
Kendrick Bourne goes 75 yards.
Kendrick Bourne just turns him in the burnt toast right off the bat.
I love football, man. Boy. Okay, so Nelson, your Cardinals. Sport. I don't think they're going to go 17-0, but they're going to be very good. All right, Giants make me sad. Me too. Kadarius Toney. Oof.
This is bad.
That's a double whammy too, because I was going for the San Francisco Giants. Of course, this guy's a New York Giants fan, and then you can clown both the San Francisco Giants and the New York Giants.
I can.
Yeah, Kadarius Toney will have an Odell-like impact if he stays healthy.
Well, he's not healthy.
Good point.
He got hurt really early on in the game, and
unlike Odell, he's punching humans, not kicking nets.
Yeah, that too. Odell's not. Odell's over here going after kicking nets. I mean, it looks ridiculous, but it's better than actually.
Although he did punch, I think he tried to punch Josh Norman. That was such a fun.
That's stupid. That
was like
stupid.
15-year-old Splash loved 20. The Ravens sucked, but it was a fun time. So I really liked Toney's game. I think he's very much in that AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel, Laviska Shenault mold of Rondale Moore mold of get the ball to him. Just honestly, just put the ball in his hands and he will make plays happen. I don't think he's as nuanced of a route runner as Odell is. Even today, Odell coming off an ACL is one of the best route runners in the NFL, and he is. We'll talk about the Browns later. I have some words. Javi is back. He says Heat make it to the finals.
I'm going to put this one at Ghost Pepper on the hot take-o-meter.
Yeah, I don't know who is, but it's not going to be Miami. Sorry.
I don't think it's going to be Miami.
I might go Carolina.
But you never know. The NBA is weird. You never know.
The NBA is weird. Who would have thought they made it in the COVID year? So whatever. All right. Chef Squill says boneless wings are sauce nuggets. That sounds so good. I have
that makes me hungry.
For real. Every time we have a Monday night game, I get a kind of chicken after I get out of my 5 o'clock class. So I get a kind of chicken, and the first time I got Chick-fil-A, right? So I got a spicy chicken sandwich and a normal chicken sandwich. The Ravens lost to the Raiders. The second time last week against the Colts, I went to the like the health food store, and I got a Chinese chicken salad, and I started eating it. Actually, I had an interview before the game, so I had the interview, then I started eating it, and the Ravens go down like 22-3, right? It's like, oh, this sucks. So then they ended up winning, right? Saturday night, I went to the store and got Tyson's chicken for Tyson Williams, and then he didn't play. But all three of Baltimore's running backs scored a rushing touchdown. So tomatoes, I guess. But boneless wings sound really good right now.
All right, then.
Okay, we have one more. We have Jazz Filoa. Flores is a COVID coach.
What is he implying by this?
That he's only good in COVID times. So he was only good last year because it was COVID.
No. COVID affected everybody.
That's true. That's true. I agree with that. I do actually kind of agree with the sentiment here that I think Flores is kind of, remember how we like bashed Joe Judge a little bit for being too Belichick-y and like making guys retire, right? I think Flores is very much in the same mold. And if I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm not worried about Tua as much as I am Flores. And it's not even Flores himself. It's just the way Flores kind of Ron Rivera's his way around, that I don't think he assembled a very good staff in Miami. Like, Miami has more offensive coordinators than wins right now. It's the middle of October. They just played the freaking Jacksonville Jaguars. What are you doing, Miami? What are you doing? I have nothing against Tua. I actually like Tua, and I came out of that game thinking, okay, Tua is good, right? I know he had a terrible interception. Hit me back when I get to my quarterback power rankings tomorrow. But with Tua, keep in mind that he was coming off of an injury. He's in London. He hasn't thrown to his guys in 5 weeks. Tons of things going wrong with that situation. But the way Flores conducts himself is like he's Mike Tomlin, or he's Pete Carroll, or he's John Harbaugh. You know, he acts like he has this reputation. No, you sucked in year one because you had the worst roster imaginable. Then year two, you missed the playoffs. Yeah, you won 10 games, but you overachieved to get to that 10-6 mark. And now you want to carry yourself like you're this hardened veteran coach, and you're just not. Respectfully, you're just not. You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. Can you be? Yes, but you're not that guy yet. You have a terrible coaching staff around your players. The players are fine. Remember, they lost to Jacksonville without their top two corners, very much a Titans versus the Jets scenario, or Browns versus the Jets scenario, that you're missing so many guys in a position group that you just can't win a game. Okay, that's fair. But it's just, I don't know if it's Flores or Flores' ego that's the issue here. I think Ron Rivera is the same thing in Washington, that you have a staff around Rivera that just sucks. Like, it's supposed to be good. This is supposed to be the best defense in the NFL, and they are straight trash. Like, they are hot garbage. Like, Jack, if you want to go in on Flores, I'm going to pull up Washington stats real quick.
Do I want? Jeez. I mean, Flores has given me a lot of bad memories, though, to be fair. But this was prior to him being a head coach, so
good point.
I don't know.
Jack, I have a question for you.
All right.
What team in the NFL has allowed the most points?
Is it the Dolphins?
No.
It's a good question.
It's the Washington football team.
That honestly, that doesn't surprise me.
Like, this team was supposed to be good defensively. This team was supposed to be like an awesome defensive team, and they were supposed to be able to kind of move the ball in offense because you have Antonio Gibson, you have Scary Terry, you have Logan Thomas. People overrated everything daylights out of that man. But you look at this, and this is a team that was fourth in scoring defense last year. This is a team that was second in total defense last year. This is a team that forced a bunch of turnovers. This is a team that was top 2 in pass defense, both total yards, touchdowns, and yards per play. This is a team that was competent enough against the run. They only allowed 4.2 yards per play. You know, this team, was in the per drive metrics that I really care about, like time of possession per drive, plays per drive, yards per drive, points per drive. They're second in plays per drive allowed. They're second in yards allowed per drive. They're third in points allowed per drive. This defense sucks right now. What is going on in Washington? I know this is a Flores conversation, but Flores, what are you doing? Ron Rivera, what are you doing? At least Joe Judge can say, well, the Giants were the better team. The Giants are better than Washington. I know they lost to Washington. I don't care they lost to Washington. They were significantly better at football. Daniel Jones is a lot better than Taylor Heineke. And Daniel Jones had the worst game of his life yesterday Sunday. Holy Christmas. So Ron Rivera, what are you doing? And Brian Flores, what are you doing? It's a travesty that both of those teams they're combined, 3-9 right now. These are teams people thought would make the playoffs, especially Miami. Washington's a team that, I was liking the odds this offseason. I was like, okay, I'm going to bet $5 on Washington. They're going to win the division because Dallas can't play defense. And boom, all of a sudden, Dallas has the best defense in the history of the universe. And Washington is allowing 30 points per game.
The NFL.
The NFL.
That's such a weird league.
The NFL is weird, man. So before we get into our MVP discussion, let's fire off some of these comments. Thoughts on the whole Ben Simmons thing? You want to go first, Jack?
I need a little more context.
Okay.
I'm like, is it like a vaccination thing or what's going on?
He just kind of doesn't like his teammates. I think we're at that point that it's more of he doesn't like Joel Embiid. He doesn't like Doc Rivers. It's really weird. Like, Simmons is a good player. I know he didn't play well in the playoffs, but he's a good player and he's a top 20 player. So it's just, I don't know. This seems really petty on both sides. And also there was an Oxford comma debate with Joel Embiid because he said, I don't care about that, man. But is it, I don't care about that, comma, man, like referring to addressing someone as man. How's it going, man? Or is it, I don't care about that man, I don't care about Ben Simmons? So we have an English language debate here in Philadelphia.
The Oxford comma, man.
Yeah, that was strange. So Ben Simmons, I don't know. I don't understand it. I think you have, to me, one of the best players in the NBA, and you're just kind of bailing on him. Either way, if Philly trades him or if whatever happens. I think it's just goofy to me. It honestly is just goofy. So got another comment. Austin says, my fantasy team went from 3-0 to 3-3 real quick. It sounds like the Panthers and Broncos. Holy Christmas. Those teams fell off a cliff. So that was a mess.
Yes, Austin. Thank you. I'm so happy you brought that up.
This is true. Taylor Rapp did make my team of the week. Stay tuned. Blue cheese on ranch. Blue cheese is better than ranch on wings. I agree. I'm rocking. I love me some blue cheese. Ranch is, I've had bad blue cheese before, but I think blue cheese is generally better, but ranch is more consistent, right? So I don't think I'll have bad ranch. If I don't get ranch that often, but if I have ranch, it's not going to be bad.
People are going to destroy me for this, but I hate when people put ranch on pizza. I don't know why that's a thing. Ooh, I really don't know. I'd be rocking with
blue cheese on blue cheese. Ooh,
I really don't know why that's a thing.
I hate you folks for getting me hungry. This is my face when I can't eat the darn sweetbread. All right. JD McKissick, is he a good pickup with Gibson questionable? I think he's a good pickup regardless of Gibson's because Washington sucks. So they're going to throw the ball a lot. They're going to have a lot of dump offs. So I think McKissick is a valuable player. But hey, we have a fantasy show coming up at 8:30 Eastern, maybe 8:15. I need to check the time, but it's coming up very soon. It's in about an hour or so. So you can ask Chris, you can ask Stefan on that. They have a banger show lined up for us. Hoops himself, him getting kicked out of practice and saying he wanted out. Embiid has said he lost respect and doesn't care about him.
We just touched on that.
Yeah, I freaking wish these players could get along sometimes because Embiid is incredibly talented.
Must be so frustrating if you're a fan of that team. Mm-hmm. He's up there as one of the best players on the team, and you're just sitting there why can't these guys just get along, man?
Yeah, imagine if Mookie Betts and Trey Turner hated each other.
This is what I think about when I hear that I see Golden Tate constantly talking about how he wants to team up with Stafford on the Rams. And I sit there thinking to myself, did Jalen Ramsey not just kick his ass last year? Don't those guys hate each other to death? and you want to be on the same team as him. Like, are you forgetting that Jalen Ramsey is on this team, Golden?
That's so funny.
That would be ridiculous.
Okay, and my dad said trade him to Cleveland. I'm actually this is something that's kind of thing, right? This is like a Cleveland's not like the number one on the list. Cleveland's like in the kind of Memphis sort of territory that he would do a lot of great things. Oh, I actually, now that you mention, I really like the idea of Ben Simmons in Cleveland because with what the okay,
what's going on?
I had a fly in my face. Okay, with context, I don't hate a 3-guard backcourt. I don't, because Simmons is spectacular defensively. People say, oh, you can't shoot. Well, he doesn't allow other people to shoot either. So he's awesome defensively. But I would actually kind of be rocking with a Darius Garland at the 1, Colin Sexton at the 2, Ben Simmons at the 3, and then we traded Nance. If we went super big with like a Mobley at the 4, Allen at the 5, I would like that a lot. I would have a lot of fun with that. And I think you would have Simmons kind of work as a real life point guard because Sexton is not a point guard. He is very much a Damian Lillard type of player. He's not a point guard. He is a combo guard, a smaller shooting guard. But Darius Garland is more of that playmaker type, but he's also an exceptional shooter. I think he made like 40% of his threes each of the last 2 seasons. I know both Sexton and Garland are exceptional shooters. Simmons is going to find them. And also Simmons can aimlessly attack the basket. He doesn't have to shoot. Evan Mobley can take a step out. Jared Allen, I think, can step out to the mid-range at least. Hopefully he's worked on some threes. I would really like to see Ben Simmons in Cleveland. It's not going to happen. I know that. But I would have a lot of fun with that. We got Hoops himself and thoughts about creating a super team. My opinion is that they shouldn't be a thing. Watching the GOATs go at it is what makes watching sports fun, in my opinion. I tend to agree, but I do think.
Listen, I'm a fan of a super team right now, so let's just leave it at that.
Kind of fan of 2 of them. I guess the Rams aren't that far off. They have the best. Well, okay, we're going to talk about Pittsburgh later, but you have theoretically the best defensive player in the NFL and the best cornerback in the NFL with Donald and Ramsey. So all 3 of your teams, and then the Kings are just the Kings. So your 3 main teams, I guess.
Kings are getting there. We'll talk about them when we get
3
to
of your 4 main teams are like popping off with superstars.
Yeah.
So there's that. I think there is some value in super teams, but at the same time, I think we need to slow down on calling everyone and their brother a super team.
Yeah.
Right. Because at the same time, like, is, say, the 2014 Patriots a super team? No. Is the 2020 Bucks a super team? Perhaps. Is this Chiefs team a super team? Is the last year's Chiefs a super team? No. You can be really, really good, dynastic level team, but not be a super team. I don't know if that's a hot take, but oh well, it happens.
All right, do we jump into our recap of the week?
Yeah, do you want to touch on MVP conversation first, or do we want to go through the games first?
I think we should go through the games, and then we'll talk.
Okay, let's do it. You pick a spot, and let's go. All
right, do we just get the Rams out of the way now, or should we talk about the Jags first? I feel like the Jaguars getting their first win is kind of a big deal.
What was Thursday night again? Oh, okay. Brady and the Bucks. Brady didn't play very well, but they beat the Eagles. Congratulations.
That was a forgettable game.
Yeah. London. The Eagles did screw over a bunch of bettors because they went for 2. I think the spread was 7, right? So if they fail the 2, they lose by 8. Tampa bettors win. If they make the 2, Philly bettors win. Like me, I told all of you on U Stadium, bet Philly plus 7. Skadoosh. Boom. Okay, anyways. Jags. Dolphins, London. This was actually a very good game. I was kind of like side-eyeing it while the fantasy show was on.
Isn't it weird how a lot of the games between bad teams seem to end up being the better ones?
Yeah, like heck, the best game of the week by most people's estimation would have been Ravens-Chargers, and spoiler alert, the Ravens took a dump on the Chargers, to put it nicely. Jags Dolphins was a very good game. I thought both quarterbacks played well. I know Tua had the terrible interception. We touched on that earlier, but I liked what I saw out of Lawrence. I liked what I saw out of Tua. And to me, Tua is kind of a rookie at this point because he had a COVID year and he had all those stupid games that Fitzpatrick came in. So he didn't really get a full test his rookie year. So I think this is his sort of rookie season. Kind of like how Lamar's rookie season to me was really 2019 rather than 2018. But that's neither here nor there. I thought both quarterbacks played well. I thought James Robinson has been terrific. The last 3 or 4 weeks when Urban Meyer's gotten his head out of his you-know-where, and you figure out, this dude's actually good at football. Why the heck are you drafting Travis Etienne at 25, Urban? So, I don't know. It's still not the worst decision he's made this year, but that's...
Urban's made a lot of interesting choices this year, to say the least.
Okay. We support marriage. So big shout out to Matthew Wright. He made 2 50-yard field goals in the last 5 minutes, and the first one was looking wide right, and then at the last minute, curved in. It was unreal. I've never seen anything like that. I've been watching football for 16 years. I've never seen a kick just move laterally 5 yards right at the very, very end. So big shout out there. So that was unreal. Did I just catch a fly? I did. I just caught a fly out of the air.
Hey.
I'm God tier already. Okay. So big shout out to the Jags. They are 1-5.
Better than 0-6. I'll say that right now.
Speaking of 0-6,
the Lions.
Cincinnati is really good at football. I just moved them into my top 10. Spoiler alert. Check out my full power rankings tomorrow. Detroit sucks. And I don't think people realize how bad they suck. Because
there were actually some people who believed in Jared Goff. I don't know who.
One of those people.
I was never one of those people. I mean, when on the Lions, at least, obviously in years prior to this,
as a Ram, yes, but
with the Lions, I was like, this is a struggling, inconsistent quarterback who the mistakes are just there. They're so obvious, and you're surrounding him with Detroit.
And there's no positive place. This is very much a Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco. That it's one thing to have negative plays, right? Sam Darnold, for example, tons of turnover-worthy plays the last few weeks, but he has some big-time throws. We'll talk about the Carolina game in a minute, but there are a lot of quarterbacks that make mistakes, whether it's Jones, whether it's Darnold, whether it's the Wilson and Lawrence, but whether it's Mahomes right now, but the thing is they bring value, right? They can make special throws. Jared Goff can't. Jared Goff can't move. Jared Goff is not adding anything to your football team right now. What he is doing is subtracting. What he is doing is making you look worse than you are. And to me, Jack, you know how your teams kind of won Mickey Mouse rings, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had 2 teams win Mickey Mouse rings.
Yes. I think the Detroit Lions are a Mickey Mouse 0-6. People think they're better than they are. No, they're not. So the 3 games people point out, well, they only lost by 8 to San Francisco. They needed 2 onside kicks to make that happen. You know the odds of that? Practically 0. Has any other team had an onside kick this season? I think Denver had one the other day, but they've had half of the onside kicks on the season in one game back to back. That never, ever, 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 ever happens. Unless you're Younghoe Koo. That is an extraordinary outlier that game wasn't a 25-point blowout. 2 weeks later, Baltimore comes to town. Oh, hey, Splash, your team needed a 66-yard field goal to beat the Lions. You didn't watch the game. If you tell me, well, you only beat the Lions by 2, you just are telling me, hey, Splash, hey, Ryan, hey, mister, I didn't watch the game. I didn't watch Lamar Jackson. I didn't watch Marquise Brown drop 2 touchdowns. Marquise Brown has 2 drops in the season. Both of them came on the same drive in the same game against the Lions. If he catches either of them, they score a touchdown. On that drive, they punted. So you tack that.
You're really proving you didn't watch. If you're talking about Hollywood only dropping those 2. You said they came in the same drive in the same game.
Yeah. What are the odds of that? What are the odds that a player that's been a top 10 receiver by receiving yards and receiving touchdowns this season, what are the odds he drops? He has 0
I'm having
drops
trouble putting my point into words, but if that's your defense for why he's having a bad season, and he's not having a bad season.
Oh,
I mean,
well, no, Hollywood's having a great season.
He is. I'm having trouble putting it in the words, but
yeah, I understand.
Like,
it's just, and the Minnesota game, Minnesota and Baltimore connected here. So yes, was Detroit unfortunate to lose in the way they lost? Yes, I agree with you, but they were incredibly, ridiculously fortunate to be in that situation. Justin Tucker missed an early field goal in that game. So, he made from 66. Okay, if he made his earlier field goal, they win anyways. Well, Greg Joseph made from 54. If he makes his earlier field goal, they win anyways. Like, people, math is math. Like Mr. Incredible said, math is math. Check it.
Math is math.
Yeah, facts. So it's just so stupid to me that, they only lost to the Vikings by 2, and they only lost to the Ravens by 2. Please? Okay, Jack, I have a question for you. Do you remember the Ravens-Chargers playoff game?
Yeah.
Okay, that was a 6-point spread. Remember that. You remember the Cowboys-Patriots game that was played Sunday? That was a 6-point spread. The Ravens got clobbered for 3.5 quarters, and the game ended in a 6-point spread. The Cowboys and Patriots had one of the best games of the season. It ended in a 6-point spread. If you're telling me that the Cowboys beat the Patriots in a similar manner to how the Chargers beat the Ravens in that playoff game, you are on crack.
Pretty much.
Stop using score to say, the team played well. No, the Bills can win a game by 40 and look terrible. They did twice, right?
Oh, I have to get into. I'm going to get into this with Rams Giants too. Sean McVay was not happy. The Rams scored 38 points, and Sean McVay was pissed
for a good freaking reason. I didn't think Stafford played well. I know Stafford had 4 touchdowns. I don't care that he had 4 touchdowns. I know he had 200-something yards. I don't care that he had 200-something yards. He didn't play well. To me, he had like a 64 PFF grade, something like that. I thought it was dead on. I thought it was maybe honestly a little too high. I didn't think he played well. I thought everyone else on that offense played well. I thought the defense was out of its mind, and I thought Stafford was the weak link on Sunday. I know they scored 38. I know he threw 4 touchdowns, but to me, the thing with Stafford is that people forget about this. This is very like anti-Jared Goff. So Goff is very structured. If you give him a good structure, he can be a solid quarterback. The Rams went to a Super Bowl with him. But with
We've seen this before.
Stafford has these stupidity plays that no one notices. People just forget they happen. If Goff did it, you would be complaining about it, right? If Mahomes does it, people are complaining about it. If Herbert does it, people are complaining. Well, Herbert had a terrible game against Baltimore. No one seems to care. But people realize that Matthew Stafford is not God. Right. He is not God. He is not perfect.
I think that was something that it felt like in the offseason, especially, only Rams fans seemed to notice this. Like none of us were calling Matthew Stafford like the GOAT. None of us were. Our whole entire point that we were excited for is because he's an upgrade over Jared Goff, and because of what he can do, because of the little things that he does right.
Okay.
He is able to lead this offense and unlock everybody else's potential. And this is why Cooper Kupp is playing at the high level. This is why Robert Woods has been playing at a high level.
Woods is insane, man.
You see the good. You're seeing better years from Van Jefferson, from Deshaun Jackson. You're seeing Tyler Higbee have some really solid plays as well. This is why.
Darrell Henderson had a really nice touchdown.
Henderson. That was insane. Dime, by the way. That if you want to talk about something good Stafford did in that game, that was a dime from him.
Yeah, okay. I'm not saying Stafford sucks. I don't want it to come across this way, but I do think
I understand what you mean.
There's more negatives than the stat sheet will show, right? It's kind of we'll get to Browns Cardinals in a little bit, but I
guess we kind of just inadvertently got in the Rams Giants.
Yeah. Like if you just look at the box score and you say, oh, Kyler didn't have any turnovers. He put the ball on the ground 4 times. What are the odds you recover all 4 fumbles? Not great. So when I view Kyler in that game, I say he had 4 really stupid plays that very easily could have gone the other way. Right. And I think Stafford had a couple that very easily could have gone the other way. One did. And then he had a fumble somewhere. I don't remember the exact
Did he fumble?
I think he was listed as a fumble. It wasn't a lost fumble, but I think he was listed as a fumble, but I don't know.
I don't remember Stafford fumbling in that game.
Okay, I could be wrong. But I thought he had 2 turnover-worthy plays, 1 interception, and 1
Yeah, there
fumble.
was one where somebody or like the Giants, I think it got tipped and the interception got dropped.
Okay, that's not really a turnover-worthy play. That's more of a just incidental thing. So,
I guess so, but
yeah. So, like, say Allen yesterday, he threw an interception. The interception itself wasn't a turnover-worthy play, but the ball getting batted out of his hand was a turnover-worthy play. If that makes sense.
sure.
Or when Mahomes bobbled the snap, it's already a turnover-worthy play there because the ball hit the turf. But then he throws the ball up in the air. That's just I don't know what he was doing on that one, but. I'm not saying Stafford's a bad quarterback. I'm not saying he sucks. I'm not saying anything, but I am saying you need to realize there is some negative with Stafford. Right?
Exactly.
There's
I was fully prepared for this coming into the season too. He was not going to put up 17 perfect games.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll put up a few more like he did week 1. Like week 1, I think
he was unreal week 1.
Much a perfect game. We need to kind of come down off of that. He was an incredible week 1 because he's not going to play like that every week.
Mm-hmm.
He put up a stinker against Arizona.
Yeah, I think he's very much he's very good. He is incredibly talented, but it's kind of that Mahomes thing that sometimes he thinks his poop doesn't smell. Right? Sometimes he thinks he's like awesome. Like he's good. Don't get me wrong. He's awesome. He's incredibly talented, but sometimes he thinks he's the best quarterback in the NFL, and it shows. There's some like bad decisions.
Sometimes he go like it's a funny like joke that somebody made on Twitter where it's like Rams fans everywhere were like telling Goff, stop checking it down all the time, stop throwing short all the time, like you need to go deep more. And now we're telling Stafford, stop going deep so much. Like he keeps on 3rd down trying to throw it to who the hell knows. Yeah, you're right. On these past 3 games, he and the offenses have started slow.
Yeah, that's
it happens.
That matters, and I think it's Stafford's important. Unreal. Don't get me wrong, but I do think there's a few too many turnovers for me.
Yeah, there's too many turnover worthy plays. I again, he'll be fine. I'm pretty positive he's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes he put up stinkers. But the whole point of the Stafford trade, I feel like, wasn't just to have the upgrade over Jared Goff, but it was to unlock the rest of the offense. And we are seeing that happen. I think Cooper Kupp had a phenomenal game. Henderson, phenomenal game. Robert Woods, solid game. He wasn't as explosive as Kupp was, but he still had a pretty good game.
Yeah, it's hard to have both wide receivers go bonkers in that game.
Sometimes
they both did against Seattle.
Yeah, sometimes that's just what you want. Sometimes your quarterback doesn't need to be the best player on your offense for you to win the game. And
should I do the 15-second do all?
Just do it. Okay, don't actually do it. Don't actually do it. Okay. I don't want to like lose track of my point. Dodgers.
It's 5-2 Braves, by the way.
Pain. They're giving me pain.
I'm so happy right now. Holy crap. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Gotta have that 8th inning comeback or something.
No. no. Negatory. Okay.
Can I finally talk about how good the defense played at least?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Spectacular.
Finally, a game where I don't think that Raheem Morris's defense was suspect. Taylor Rapp with 2 interceptions. The rookie Robert Richell with his first career pick. I mean, this defense just feasted. It absolutely feasted. I thought they did everything right. Obviously, there was that garbage time drive that Daniel Jones had, but that was in garbage time, so a lot of the starters were already on the bench. Dante Dion, he he actually today just got signed officially to the 53-man roster. I'm really happy for him. He's been grinding it out, so it's awesome to see him make the team for realsies. He had a couple
of the Rams
pass breakups. I thought he played phenomenally. I mean, that's just the kind of game that you need. I think momentum-wise, too, as well, it's important. Because, you have to realize this is a depleted Giants team. They're down Saquon. They're down Golladay.
And Jones, obviously, I don't want to say obviously. Jones just wasn't the same. He was a good quarterback for 5 weeks, and he just turned into I don't even... It was sad, honestly. It was sad.
Was not good.
I respect LA for like pummeling New York, but it was just sad, kind of. It was like just watching Daniel Jones, who I've never been the biggest Daniel Jones guy. I'll just be honest there, but it just sucks having a guy that is like climbing the mountain and then it just all comes crashing down. He graded
Goff.
in the 30s. It was just a train wreck.
Goff.
This
That's
is true with
pretty much
Goff.
where I was at with Goff. Yeah.
No, I do feel bad for Daniel Jones.
I
So
but
we're
I
gonna
was telling myself all day long, if I'm gonna feel bad for them, I'm gonna do it after the game. Because
Right.
like during the
Okay.
game, there's no mercy. You just gotta.
Right,
This is the
for
kind
sure.
of game the Rams were supposed to dominate, and they did. Now you
For
got to
sure.
keep it going, because any given week, any
Mhm.
given Sunday, anything can. We lost to the Jets last year. We could
Yeah.
very well find a way to lose to the Lions. We could very well find a way to lose to the Jaguars. You just never know.
Mhm.
That's why you play the game. So
speaking of something we do know, we're gonna have a little interlude section here. Speaking of Stafford, he's not on this graphic, but this is a PFF question. Jack, who do you think is the NFL's best deep ball thrower?
Aaron Rodgers is my answer
Ooh,
for this.
I like that.
And
I like
I
that. I
say
like
that. I say that because he just kind of tends to do it out of nowhere. Like, you don't expect him to do it, but he just kind of does it. Like, you don't think it's a play where he's gonna just unload a deep ball to what's his name, to Devontae Adams, and he
or
just
MVS. I think MVS is hurt. I haven't seen him in a while. Or Lazard.
Lazard's there. Last year he was doing it with Tunyon a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just so automatic with Aaron Rodgers. Like, there's never any question. Like, he's gonna complete this pass. With Russ, it feels like
I would lean Russ. I would lean Russ.
It feels like, though, he only tends to do it with DK, or not DK. With I guess he does do it with DK occasionally,
DK
but it's more Lockett, I'd say. Like, Lockett never drops those deep balls.
So pretty, man. I talked about it earlier. It just sucks that Russell Wilson's out of the NFL for the moment. So Derek Carr has been spectacular on deep balls this season. I also want to shout out Lamar Jackson, who has been incredible on deep balls this season. Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, they have the rocket arms. Kyler as well. They have the rocket arms that, okay, they're always going to be in this conversation, but this year I don't think they're on that upper echelon. I think Russell Wilson is on that upper echelon. I thought Lamar Jackson for 3 or 4 weeks. Here's actually a counterpoint. Lamar didn't have any deep throws against the Chargers. Why? Because the Chargers know Lamar is a great deep ball thrower. And I say great, and I mean it. He had a spectacular game against Detroit, but only 2 of the passes were caught. He had 6 big-time throws. 2 were dropped by Marquise, and 2 were not pass breakups, but not necessarily drops. It's kind of like a half drop, right? It's kind of rude to call it a drop, but it's goofy. He had 6 spectacular throws. Only 2 of them were caught. So I would lean Russ. I think Rodgers is an acceptable answer. I think Brady and Carr have been spectacular.
Brady, for his age, I feel like is up there too. Like, at his, what is he, 44, and he's still doing the things that he's doing. It's unreal.
It's just special from Brady, and I have tons of respect for Brady. And he and Antonio Brown have a incredible chemistry, and it sucks that Antonio Brown said the off the field stuff, because he is one of the easiest Hall of Famers in the last 25 years.
Absolutely.
Like, he is a special player. And I'm glad he's back. I'm glad his life has turned around. I know I'm not going to necessarily forgive him for all of his wrongdoings, but from a football aspect, I love watching Antonio Brown play.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was a little interlude section. Let's continue the Herbert theme. The Chargers took a trip to M&T Bank Stadium on Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. We were treated to a massacre. This game got so bad that in the middle of the third quarter, they pulled it off of CBS.
CBS didn't even want to watch the Chargers get mauled.
I got the bloody game on this stupid TV that doesn't have Fox, so I couldn't watch the Cardinals game later. I got the game. If they take it off halfway through, I think they may have been halfway through.
Well, first of all, let me say this. I know I'm going to kind of backtrack a little bit to the Rams, but thank God you don't have Fox, because the Rams attempted a fake punt yesterday. Johnny Hecker threw a perfect pass.
Oh, I saw that. And then
it got negated for unsportsmanlike on both sides. And all the ref said was unsportsmanlike, Rams Giants, repeat fourth down, or something like that.
I about had an aneurysm.
He didn't say where. Fox didn't say who. Fox didn't say where.
Wait, it might have been like, who? Low key, it might have been on the bench, but
If it was on the bench, just say it's on the bench.
good
They
point.
didn't say anything. Fox didn't even bother backtracking. There was no Dean Blandino. He didn't show. I mean, he was on the U Stadium show the other day.
U Stadium legend, Dean Blandino.
Dean, where were you? We needed you in that moment. Like
I had an aneurysm watching that play because it's like Hecker, he did it, he did the thing, and then I saw
Twitter. I was like, he finally and like we wasted. Sean McVay was pissed off because he wasted a trick play on special teams.
Yeah. Actually, do you think it was a trick play, or do you think that Hecker just like, hey, he's open? Let me just
no. It was definitely a trick play because it was who was it? Ben Skrowanek, the wide receiver. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He was like faking like something with the ball or whatever. He was like doing something with his something like that. It was definitely planned though. Anyway,
that was fun.
My whole point of that rant is thank God you don't have Fox because they are abysmal.
And speaking of abysmal, Los Angeles Chargers run defense. Oh boy, it was bad. Like you're talking Le'Veon Bell. This is 2021, folks. If you just woke out of a coma. Happy to see you back. Glad you're tuning into our show. Make sure you like the stream, subscribe to the channel, ring that Le'Veon bell, that notification bell. It's 2021, and the Chargers let Latavius Murray score a touchdown, Devontae Freeman score a touchdown, and Le'Veon Bell score a touchdown. What are you doing? What is in the water in Los Angeles? Oh my goodness.
They brought whatever was in San Diego over here. I'll say that right now.
This is true. I thought Brandon Staley, as much as I respect it, as much as I loved that signing, like the hiring of him and how he was a defensive mind but had played quarterback in college, and that was or high school maybe. That's a perfect thing for Herbert, man, because you have a quarterback talking to you about the defense, and this is what makes units so special. Even Snacks mentioned this on his shows. Shout out to Damon Harrison and Sonny Carton. They do their show on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. The cohesiveness of the units is like supposed to be an important thing. The Chargers forgot how to play football for three. I'm convinced that they forgot how to play football for 3 quarters. Holden, yes, we did. And yes, we both agree that Cooper Kupp is playing like a top 5 receiver right now.
Yes.
So big props to your boy. So the Chargers got stomped on, crapped on. My dog, I don't even have a dog. My dog urinated on the grave, lit it on fire, and then stabbed it with a stake. And then electrocuted it like the Jason movie. Oh Lord. Oh, it was bad. It was like people were hyping the Chargers up as like a top 5 team, and they got curb stomped.
Do you think so? Here's the question. Do you think that now the Chargers are fake? Like, do you think that they're not for real anymore?
No. Here's why. Baltimore played perhaps this is really a bad matchup for the Chargers because I said this on last week's Power Rankings episode that the Bills don't care about stopping the run. That's generally true. The Chargers literally could not give 2 Christian Fuchs about stopping the run. I set that up so well, and I forgot my point. Christian Fuchs is an Austrian left back that used to play in the Bundesliga. So I did not swear, YouTube. That's a person's name. Eat me. So demonetized. So the Chargers don't care about stopping the run. They know they don't care about stopping the run. But why you have that strategy against Baltimore? And they played Lamar very well. They didn't let Lamar hit on a deep. Lamar didn't even attempt a deep ball. And Lamar didn't play particularly well. That is kind of in large part because they took away the deep ball, ironically enough. And I thought the Chargers had a great game plan to stop Lamar Jackson. The problem is you had a game plan that got gashed by Le'Veon Bell, Devontae Freeman, and Latavius Murray.
See, this is the reason why I was talking about the Rams losing to the Cardinals that badly, because their game plan got screwed up and the response was miserable.
Yes. This is what exactly happened to the Chargers, because it was almost pathetic how little they were able to do, right? Offensively, they sucked. Herbert had a terrible game. I know the stats look okay, but he had like 100 yards entering the fourth quarter. He did have a touchdown, but that was aided on a short field by a Kazir White Kaiser White had he had 2 picks, but Kaiser White had this interception, right? Lamar has a terrible throw. White has this huge return. Then 2 plays later, boom, boom, boom. The Chargers are in the end zone, and they missed the extra point, ironically enough. So, no, I don't think the Chargers are fake. I think they're still very good. They just got a wake-up message. But I do think it's funny that to me, I haven't seen people talking about the Ravens as this like unstoppable force. I know for darn well that if the Chargers came to M&T Bank Stadium and won 34-6, they would be number 1 on everyone's power rankings, right?
As reluctant as I am to say it, yeah, I think so.
I hate the double standard.
People love gushing over Justin Herbert for some reason, and I mean, fine. He's Justin Herbert. I've said before, as much as I hate the franchise and I cannot stand the franchise, the Chargers are a damn good football team.
Yeah, they're exceptional. It's just a terrible matchup against Baltimore.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Baltimore runs the ball so well. So huge shout out to Chuck Clark. He was great. Deshaun Elliott made my team of the week. Tune in tomorrow for the full team of the week. Marlon Humphrey was great.
I can't get over how like you and I have been talking on our show like for a long time about how this was supposed to be like a tough matchup for the Ravens, and it was going to get even tougher with all the Ravens injuries. Yeah. And we get to the game and it's not even close.
Yeah, a 28-point shutdown. So, speaking of that, do you want to transition into a little bit of an MVP talk before we wrap up the rest of the games?
Sure thing.
Okay, so Jack, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you for your top 3 MVP candidates in order. 3, 2, 1. Okay.
I'm going to I have to think about it for a little bit, but
right. No worries. You're good. So, my number 3 choice for the NFL MVP right now, it's only week 7. We're heading into week 7. Is 1 Lamar Jackson. Quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, of course. Duh, right. What Lamar's done, he is the highest rated passer since week 3, not quarterback, passer, right? He has been special as a thrower of the football. He has led the Ravens to the best record in the AFC again, right? And he is sitting at 5-1. The Ravens are sitting at 5-1. So record matters. Record matters to some degree at this. So you have he actually getting his jersey retired for Louisville last weekend. Then he came out. He didn't play very well against the Chargers. I thought he was okay. It was just kind of like a standard Lamar game. Like it was just like, okay, 160 passing yards, 50 rushing yards, touchdown, cool, whatever. Had a fluky interception that Bateman dropped, and then he had a terrible throw to Kaiser White. But I want to point this out that what if he had just kept the ball on any of the 3 rushing touchdowns? He could have had like 2 or 3 rushing touchdowns in this game. The opportunity was there. He happened to hand the ball. So I think that's a sort of a total touchdowns, total yards can be a little bit misleading based on who is doing that. Like Mahomes has 1 million passing touchdowns, but how many of those are 2-yard passes, right? When other teams might run the ball in that scenario. So Lamar is my number 3, but for Lamar, the case is not statistical as much as who is the most important player in the NFL. I think it's Lamar Jackson. I don't think it's particularly close. You can argue Dak. I think Dak's up there. Dak would be one of my honorable mentions. But the way that the things Lamar does that doesn't show up on the stat sheet is just incredible. The way he forces teams to over-account for the run game in such a manner that weeks 1 through 5, he just lit teams on fire down the field. But week 6, when a team is caring about stopping the pass, he is so dynamic as a rusher, and he forces you to make split-second decisions. And most of the time, you're going to make the wrong decision. It doesn't matter what you choose, you're going to be wrong because Lamar has the choice. Are you going to bite on me or are you going to bite on Latavius Murray? Oh, okay, you're going to bite on me. Okay, hand it off to Murray, and he has 4 touchdowns this season. So Lamar is my number 3. Number 2, we're going a little bit off the grid here. Derrick Henry, running back, Tennessee Titans. He has 10 rushing touchdowns in 6 weeks. He has 750 rushing yards in 6 weeks. Here's the list in NFL history of every player to have 750 rushing yards and 10 rushing touchdowns in the first 6 weeks. 1958, Jim Brown, and 1984, Eric Dickerson. And 2021, Derrick Henry. That is Jim Brown, perhaps the greatest running back ever. That is Eric Dickerson, the guy who broke the rushing yards record, and Derrick Henry. Say what you will about, 70 of those yards came on one play. Okay, I agree. He wasn't incredibly efficient outside of that, but he didn't have to be. When it mattered, he scored, right? When it mattered, when the game was on the line, he didn't fold. Josh Allen folded. So huge props to Derrick Henry. He was great. I know he's not going to win the MVP because it's a quarterback-centric award, but he is having a historic start to the season. He is on pace to smash the total touches record. He is on pace to smash the yardage
You're going to
record.
love one of these that I'm going to come up with. I'm going to come up with something like a spicy take, and it's never going to happen. But
okay. And then he's on pace to tie the rushing touchdowns record. Is he going to do any of those things? I don't know. I don't know if he's going to break the touches record. I don't know if he's going to break the yardage record. Touchdown seems a little out there. He might need a 4 or 5 touchdown game at some point, but he has three touch. It's week 6. Derrick Henry is one of 12 players in the history of the NFL to have three rushing touchdown games in the same season. It's week 6. And my number one is Kyler Murray, 6-0 quarterback. He's playing very well. He's not turning the ball over as much as he usually does. And this is when I do want to point out he does have 6 fumbles the last 2 weeks. None of them lost somehow, miraculously.
That's
6
ridiculous.
fumbles, none of them lost. So I think the stats right now are a little bit better. But at this point, to me, Kyler's more of my prediction of MVP rather than who I think is the most valuable player. Because to me, the most valuable player in the NFL is Lamar Jackson. Dak would be 2. But it's Kyler, 6-0 Cardinals. That's in his favor. Leads the league in completion percentage. People care about that. Isn't turning the ball over in recent weeks. People care about that. And then 6-0 again. So I think, to me, Kyler is the MVP frontrunner right now. And Josh Allen kind of slipped away yesterday.
Yeah, Allen definitely slipped away. I agree with you on Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry's definitely a top 3 MVP candidate. I mean, we saw it in the way he played yesterday too. I think it was he like you said, he shows up when it matters too. And I think that was relevant in the Seattle game, I think too. I think he only had his biggest moments came in the 4th quarter, I want to say.
Oh, he was unstoppable.
Care about his first 3 quarters. When he can play like that in the 4th quarter when it matters. I mean,
there's
that's
a stat
ridiculous
that in the 1st quarter he's averaged under 3 yards a carry this season. In the 2nd quarter he's averaged like 3.5 yards per carry. 3rd quarter he's averaged like 4.5, 4.7, something like that. In the 4th quarter and overtime he's averaged like 6 yards a carry. You can't stop Derrick Henry, man. So give me your 3, Jack. You said Henry was 1, right?
Henry is 1. My second one, I'm going to go out on a bit of a limb here. Cooper Kupp has a shot, I think.
Ooh, a wide receiver has never won the MVP award.
I think he gets it done this year.
Kyler.
I think
Cooper be the first.
Because we were already talking about how he's a top 5 receiver in the league, not just because of the stats. Mm-hmm. I think if he keeps playing well to a degree, there's a chance he could.
I actually like this. I like this a lot. I didn't think I would like it, but I like it a lot because most of the time the star receiver comes attached to a superstar quarterback, right? So think Randy Moss in 2007, Devontae Adams last year, Tyreek Hill every year. It always comes attached. There's always a string attached. This year, I don't think Stafford's playing well enough to be in the MVP conversation. And there's too many quarterbacks that are playing well that Stafford, even if he is playing well, I don't think the numbers are going to be that spectacular. The numbers might be spectacular, but is it anything out of the ordinary in a year that 10 quarterbacks throw 40 touchdowns? No.
There's just too much good quarterback competition at this point, I think.
If Kupp's on pace, like on a Randy Moss in 2007 pace, that if he has like 1,600 yards and 20 touchdowns, I would throw him into the MVP conversation. That was an awesome pick. I was not expecting that, but that was an awesome pick.
Okay. Somebody on Twitter, I was debating mentioning this. I think I'll mention it, but I won't count it as an official pick. But somebody on Twitter mentioned Trayvon Diggs, maybe.
Okay. He has 7 interceptions. To me, maybe the MVP through 6 weeks, but I don't think that's sustainable.
I'm not sure it's sustainable either. Like he's got to get like at least 1 pick every week, pretty much from that point, and he's got to do more than just the interceptions too. Like Jalen Ramsey in 2020, unbelievable year, absolutely CB1. He only had one interception all year long.
Right.
Interceptions are not the only thing that matters. It's what you do as like a lockdown cornerback. Like, can you take these big name, big threat wide receivers like Devontae Adams, like DeAndre Hopkins, like
you just like erase them out of existence.
Yeah, exactly what I was gonna say.
Revis did that. Asamoah did that when he was in Oakland. You know, that's what the star corner. That's what when you have Darrelle Revis in the running for defensive player of the year, right? Or you have Charles Woodson in the running for defensive player of the year, or you have Stephon Gilmore a couple years ago in the running for defensive player of the year. These guys are erasers. Now Gilmore did have 6 interceptions, which happened to lead the league, which Diggs is already past that, which is mind-boggling. But the interceptions are nice. I agree with you. And he's in my all-pro team. I agree with you. But I question the sustainability, right? If he has a game that he doesn't have a pick in, his value starts to decline. This is Marcus Peters. You know, Marcus Whitman, that franchise guy came out and said it. I talked to Alec, Ravens fan, about it. Yeah, Trayvon Diggs is Marcus Peters, or if you want to go to a different position, Trayvon Diggs is Jameis Winston. So it's feast or famine a lot of the weeks. And it's as awesome as it is that Diggs has 7 interceptions, and as awesome as it is that he could probably stop playing this week and end up leading the league in interceptions, that's awesome. I'm happy for him. I'm a huge Trayvon Diggs fan. But MVP, you need to be weeks 1 through 18. You got to bring something, right?
Yeah.
Diggs has had an incredible first 6 weeks. What is he going to do the rest of the season? That's where my pushback is. This is why I think, like, I would actually want to throw out Max Crosby would be my pick for if I had to choose a defensive player to win MVP. Max Crosby has had an absolutely ridiculous season.
So we still don't think this is the year that Aaron Donald finally gets one. He's due. At one point or another, he's got to get one. TJ. Oh yeah.
It's like Donald has 3 of them. What are you talking about?
MVP.
Okay.
I mean, though, MVP.
Okay. First off, I think Cameron Hayward's having a better year than Aaron Donald. I'm not. This isn't a slight against Donald. He's still in my All-Pro team, but I think Cameron Hayward's having a better season.
I would think so.
Donald's obviously unstoppable, but Cameron Hayward, man, he has been every bit like he has been 99% of Donald as a pass rusher, which is saying a lot. And he's been the best run defender in the NFL, regardless of position. Donald's been exceptional, don't get me wrong, but it's a nuance between, I think PFF has like Donald is like a 90 grade and Hayward is like a 91.4. It's very close, but to me, I think Cameron Hayward has been the best defensive player in the NFL. I don't think the stats are there to necessarily match that. The tape matches. Oh my goodness, he is unreal on tape. The game against Seattle, sensational. He had 12 pressure against Buffalo week 1. It was just, he is off his rocker this year, and it's so fun to watch, even though he's the rival team. And Max Crosby is the same thing. There's been 3 games with 12 pressures this season. Max Crosby week 1 had 13 against Baltimore. Cameron Hayward week 1 had 12 against Buffalo. And yesterday or Sunday, Max Crosby had 12 against Denver. He had 5. PFF credited him with 5 sacks, 1 full sack, 4 half sacks. So he had a 5-sack game ruined by his teammates, essentially. We talked up Chandler Jones for having 5 sacks week 1. We talked up Myles Garrett for having 4.5 sacks a couple weeks ago. Put some respect on Max Crosby's name. Max Crosby, let me put this into perspective. You would have to, if you took the next 2 edge rushers in his class from 2019, these are talented players. These are Josh Allen's, Rashawn Gary's, Nick Bosa's. You would have to take the next 2 to even tie him in pressures. He has had 43 pressures. The next 2 guys in his draft class, say Gary and Bosa, they have 44 combined. It has been an unreal, spectacular, sensational season from Crosby. He is putting all of his physical tools to work. He is a technically sound pass rusher. He is, the last 2 years, he kind of lucked into, I don't want to say lucked into sacks, but had an inordinate number of sacks compared to his pressure rate. This year, he is having a pressure rate that's even better than Nick Bosa was as a rookie. And I will stand here and say Nick Bosa was an elite player as a rookie, a top 50 player as a rookie. Max Crosby's been every bit as good, and he's been even better than that as a pass rusher. Run defender, maybe not, but as a pass rusher, Max Crosby's been sensational.
And there's your splash Max Crosby rant for the day.
We've had a lot of clippable things today. I'm excited.
Have actually. We really
Henry's
have.
going to be on working overdrive today. Did you finish yours?
We'll pretty much count Trayvon Diggs as my pick then. I don't really
Okay.
have anybody else. But I agree with your pushback. I definitely agree with that. I just wanted to kind of entertain your thoughts on that.
Yeah,
see
for
what
sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And I do want to throw out Dak is in the MVP conversation. Josh Allen, even though he had a down week, he just kind of choked at a big moment. That narrative matters for MVP. Dak is in there. Josh Allen is in there. Brady is in there. Stafford's kind of like fringe.
If Stafford puts up another good game next
it's
week,
kind of
I think he'll be there.
where they it's kind of tied to where you are in the standings. Herbert had a down week.
That's
right. And if you get dunked on by a different MVP candidate, like Derrick Henry dunks on Josh Allen, like the narrative is Derrick Henry dunked on Josh Allen, or Kyler dunked on Stafford, or pick your poison, right? So that's how that works. So any other games you want to touch on?
I think we pretty much covered a lot of the key points. I could mention Aaron Rodgers yelling, "I still own you" to Bears fans. That was enjoyable.
He is spitting right there.
Yeah.
Oh, I love watching Aaron Rodgers play.
Would we
give you a Braves update, but my phone is dead.
I'd imagine the Dodgers are still losing.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I don't know what my Chargers.
2-5. It's 2-5.
Okay, go Braves. Chop on, baby. Okay. Anything else you want to mention before we wrap it up here? Okay, so that's going to wrap us up for today. Make sure you like the stream, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at UCAD. You can follow me at Mr. Splashman19. You can follow Jack. I did the wrong way. You can follow Jack at his socials. They're on the app somewhere. And hope you guys have a wonderful day. Actually, make sure you download the U Stadium app. If you haven't downloaded it already, download the U Stadium app 1000%. We are unveiling a new feature in the coming days. It is about to be in beta testing. It is called Takes. Let me explain it to you guys for a second. So let's say Mr. Jack here wants to bet on the Rams.
Let's say I think that's the Rams. What's a good take idea?
Let's say they're playing the Lions. Let's say they cover. You think they cover 17?
Sure.
Okay. You think they cover 17. So Jack puts 5 points into the pot. And everyone that thinks the Rams will cover puts 5 points into the pot. But if you think, nah, the Lions got this, they're only going to lose by 16. Well, okay. If you think the Lions plus 17 hits, you can bet on the Lions. So all these points go into a pool, right? They go into this nice pool. It's warm. The water's about 72 degrees Fahrenheit. We're vibing. There's some floaties in the water. We're vibing. We're all vibing. And then the Rams win by 20. All right, so Jack and his crew get their points back, and they win the points from the people they bet against. So this is revolutionary betting. I am so excited to unveil this. I'm super excited. I got a message from Frankie on the takes testing group, whatever. Oh, man, it's going to slap. So before we go, let's answer Dark. Is it Dark's Age or Dark Sage?
Dark
Sage.
Before we get his question, because it might take a second, but
okay.
Hockey started again. That's going to be really. It's been really fun so far.
The Kraken scored a goal.
They won their first game,
and then Vegas dunked on them. Did you have that on the?
I don't think Vegas really dunked on them. I think that it was because they blew a 3-0 lead in that game, but then Vegas immediately after they tied it, Vegas scored again. So
I did like the tweet. It was act like you scored before.
Act like you've scored before, and then Seattle replies, "Oh my God, are you the fun police now?"
I thought that was one of the best tweets of the year. I think the Hurricanes had a banger. The Hurricanes and Lightning, like
the Hurricanes. I think we mentioned that one before too.
I actually didn't realize that it was in reference to the Lightning with the Columbus series.
Yeah.
So I was totally in the dark. I thought it was just like a tongue-in-cheek thing, but that was a banger. So Dark Sage, we're waiting for your question. Jack, if takes were available for Sunday or Saturday, what is your take?
It's a good question. What's a good Sunday matchup that I can come up with?
Let's see. We got Bengals Ravens. That honestly might be the best game. We have some crappy games this week. Dolphins, Falcons.
Broncos, Browns is Thursday.
Oh my goodness.
Oh Lord.
Okay, actually, I gotta take. Baker Mayfield and Teddy Bridgewater combine for 3 more turnover-worthy plays than big-time throws. This is quantifiable. This works. Noah, at me. So something to the effect of Baker Mayfield has maybe 1 big-time throw, 2 turnover-worthy plays, and Teddy Bridgewater has 1 turnover or 1 big-time throw and 3 turnover-worthy plays. So that's my
there you go.
take. All right. Dark Sage. It's a long. Hey, wow, you're blocking some of our faces here. Okay, here we go.
I've noticed over the past 4 years or so, the media has hyped up the Los Angeles Dodgers as this super team that will be the next great dynasty. I feel this year the media has hyped up Los Angeles in a way that comes off as though they are already the champions, which they're the defending champions. So I guess in a way that makes sense. My question is, why the media not giving Atlanta a chance? I already disagree with this. I think that the media is giving Atlanta a chance. I mean, the Dodgers are already down 2-0, and I feel like a lot of people, nobody's writing them off. If the Dodgers do lose now, are they going to justify all their hype about Los Angeles when the media was claimed Los Angeles was the team to beat this year? Well, you know what? That happened with the Lakers this last year too, I feel like. I think that a lot of people thought that the Lakers were the team to beat, and they didn't win. And there were some valid excuses, I think. And I think the same thing can be said about the Dodgers.
Both of us are aware of the valid excuses. Suns in 6. Man,
oh, God. Splash and I we have PTSD from that. Many said Dodgers will win an NL West, and now they act as if they never said. Well, that's the media. I mean,
yeah, that one's weird. Although I do remember mid-season, I was watching Baseball Tonight. I don't watch a lot of ESPN, right? But I was watching Sunday Night Baseball, and it was a Dodgers and Giants segment. And Jeff Passan said, you got to give the Giants credit. Absolutely, you give the Giants credit. But everyone was sitting there. Do we really think the Giants are going to beat the Dodgers in a playoff series? Do we actually think that? Or are we just saying the record is better? And there was no point. The Giants went up 2-1. And I said, okay, I'm going to pick the Dodgers in the poll tonight. They won. And I'm going to pick the Dodgers in Game 5. They won. So I understand where you're coming from. And I agree that the Dodgers should be overwhelming favorites in the Braves series. They have like 25 legitimate all-stars on their team. But at the same time, it's baseball. And I think you need to acknowledge that baseball is very random and very much the Dodgers could be up 2-0 in this series. There's a universe that that Turner makes the play at second in Game 2. Was it Turner? I think it was Turner. Turner makes the play at second in Game 2, throws out Rosario. Game goes to the 10th inning, and then the Dodgers win. Right. There's a world that Game 1 doesn't end in Austin Riley ripping a ball down the line. It ends with Riley striking out, goes to the 10th inning, Dodgers win in extras. So, yes, the Braves are up 2-0, hopefully about to be up 3-0. I get that. But baseball is so stupidly random that the best team doesn't always win. We saw that with the Dodgers and Giants. They played a 162-game season.
Not in just the season and the playoffs, but like the giant, like the stuff that teams sometimes get away with as well. Like the Dodgers, a lot of people are saying the Dodgers probably should have lost the series or maybe shouldn't have won it because of the fluke call at the end.
I don't know, man. I didn't necessarily think. I know it's bad to end the series on that, but I do think he went. I do think he went. And yeah, I think he swung. And I think if you're in the camp that he didn't swing, I get that. But you also can't put the umpire in charge of that. You have to say, I'm not you have to totally check your swing, man. You can't have it anywhere close. you can't pretend to screw up because that umpire knows he gets to go home if he calls you out. So I kid there, but you can't put that call in the umpire's decision. You can't. You just can't. You have to
I
make
think
a
it's
play
really
in
stupid
your own right.
that the whole like subjective color, whatever the term is,
Mhm.
it's not reviewable. That's dumb.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really dumb.
I think that's fair.
But at the
So
same time, this is the way I view it. It's karma for when the Giants beat us on the same kind of situation where I think Darren Ruff, there was a clip of me on this show a while back where I
yeah, I
was
don't
complaining
remember the
about it.
clip. He like went but didn't go all the way.
He was like halfway there. He went. He definitely went, but like he just kind of stopped it, and the umpire with a check swing.
Okay.
Yeah, baseball's weird. So
But yeah, baseball is weird, and baseball will continue to be weird. And I'm hoping and praying. I want your opinion, and our viewers' opinions. Let me remind you, if the Braves go to the World Series, should I try to move heaven and earth to go to Houston and or Boston or Boston?
you might as well.
Because I know last year I was talking to my buddy Cole. Cole's actually been on the show, friend of the show, Cole. I talked to him, and if I was in Atlanta at the time, we would have driven to Arlington to go to the World Series. Of course, the Braves didn't end up going to the World Series, but I would kind of want feedback on that decision. I don't know if my dad's still watching. He'd probably punch a hole in the wall if if I go to Boston or
Your dad should be rooting for the Dodgers.
I think he is rooting for the Dodgers. But did you know that tickets today were only like $50 for the Dodgers?
Probably because it's a Tuesday day game.
Yeah, Tuesday at 2 p.m. That was such a bizarre,
really weird timing for a playoff game.
That would have been so cool if you had gone to it and we could have done like a live stream, like you're like watching the Dodgers get their faces pounded. I'm joking. That would have been so cool to do like a live stream from a game, because like even like my U Stadium schedule, I'm kind of like scared to go to a Cardinals game or go to a D-backs game, right? Because I have like these things to record and such. It's like it might be cool to record from one, right?
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Even if it's on my phone and like, hey guys, we're at Dodger Stadium. We are watching Game 3 of the National League Championship Series. Yeah, that'd be so cool. So
maybe one day. Maybe
soon, because I do have there's 3 Boston fans I know. Austin used to be on the app for a long time. He was known as Tannehill on the app. Big shout out to him. He went to Game 3 last night. My boy Jake, he has not been on the show, but we were is close to doing an NBA show with him and a college basketball show with him. He went to the game last night as well. And huge shout out to Jack Carney. I don't think he's been on this show, but he has been on the U Stadium Network before. He went to a game in the ALDS, and we have like this blood pact, right? If it's Red Sox Braves, we're going to a World Series game at Fenway. So
I think I have done a show too where it was like right before I went to a Dodger game.
Yes. Yeah, because I think we had to get off early or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah. You remember when that Dodger fan got sprayed with a hot dog?
Yeah.
Nachos.
Yeah. Justin Turner hit a home run into his nachos, and he replaced his jacket and everything. That was awesome.
That was so fun. This was an awesome show. I really liked it.
Yeah.
There's like a million things we can clip from it. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. We really do love doing this. I think I'm speaking for Jack when I say that.
I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I really am.
So make sure you like the stream.
Episodes now.
Yeah, 41. Got that Dirk Nowitzki number. So make sure you like the stream, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We have tons of new shows coming out. We have a fantasy show coming up that I need to prepare for because my phone just died. So fantasy show is coming up tonight. Tomorrow we have Play Like a Jet at 8:15 Eastern. We have the Play Action Pod with Colton and Will at 5 Eastern. Tomorrow, expect my power rankings, my team of the week, and my quarterback rankings to come up. Friday, Saturday, we have University. We have H&R Locks and Snacks and Sunny at 1 p.m. on Sunday or Saturday afternoon. Then we have the fantasy show Sunday morning. We might have Will and Colton back on Sunday as well. So exciting time to be a fan of U Stadium. So make sure you download the app too. Takes is going to be an absolute banger and a half.
Game changer. Absolute game changer.
So anything else you want to touch on, Jack, before we say Aaron Donald trains with knives?
I mean, we pretty much covered it all, so tune in.
Yeah.
Keep your
Cameron
eyes
Hayward
out.
might train with knives too. I don't know. Cam Hayward hive here. So with that said, guys, thank you guys for watching, and make sure you remember
Aaron Donald.